All right, thanks for that intro. It's really great to be back here at Harvard. My name is Michelangelo D'Agostino, and my big idea for you guys is really a pretty simple one. I'm here to tell you that data can change the world. And as a corollary, so can statisticians, mathematicians, scientists, engineers, computer hackers, all those kinds of people that you don't always think of as being able to change the world. So that seems probably like an obvious statement. Like, of course, no one's ever gotten anywhere by ignoring data or by ignoring facts, unless you count a couple members of Congress. But it's taken me, personally, it's taken me 10 years, 2 trips to the South Pole, a PhD, and a hug from Barack Obama to understand the real power of data. And to understand that people who truly get data and statistics can improve society just like doctors, lawyers, politicians, all the more traditional species of do-gooders that you guys have probably been hearing about all day. So I was sitting on your side of this Science Center auditorium not all that long ago, studying fundamental physics, messing around with electronics, but feeling like I had this real unfulfilled desire to make some difference in the world, to make some kind of tangible contribution to the world. After Harvard, I spent some time teaching. I dabbled in science journalism, writing for The Economist and some other publications. And then I went to grad school because, as I'm sure many of you are feeling, or you may feel very soon in the future, grad school is often what you do when you don't know exactly what else you want to do. So I took 2 trips to the South Pole as part of my astrophysics research, and I became an expert at sifting through large data sets and writing computer algorithms to recognize patterns in data. And actually, it's almost as cold in this auditorium right now as it was in the South Pole. So I really loved my time in physics, but I didn't feel like I was getting the chance to use my technical skills to actually have a tangible effect on the world. So then, in July 2011, I came across this ad on a popular computer programming blog. The Obama campaign was looking for scientists, economists, computer people, really anyone who was good with data to come to Chicago and work on the campaign. So I was really immediately intrigued. I had never worked in politics before, so it was a huge leap to even apply, and then another leap to actually accept and take the job. I couldn't even imagine then that this is what I would be doing on November 7th of this year. So what in the world does a particle physicist do on a political campaign? Well, the answer is that you sift through reams of data just like on a particle physics experiment. So not data on neutrinos or muons, which is what I used to study, but data on voters, on their registration histories, their donation histories. What are they telling canvassers who come and knock on their doors? Data on how they're interacting with us online. Are they opening our emails? Are you guys clicking on our emails and donating to them? Are you sending them straight to your spam folder? What are people saying about politics on Twitter and Facebook? All of that raw data that's out there. So we use that historical data to help us to build predictive statistical models that would tell us the likelihood of various things. So for an individual voter, how likely was that voter to go out and register to vote, or to volunteer for the campaign, or to donate if we sent them a fundraising email? How likely was that voter to change their mind and be persuaded after having a conversation with a canvasser at their door? So the numerical predictions that came out of these models helped us to concentrate our resources more effectively, and they helped us to reach out to individual voters in the ways that would best resonate with each one of them. Yeah, sorry. And it's not an exaggeration to say that the way we use statistics and data on this election have probably changed how presidential politics are going to be done for the foreseeable future. So this was in the LA Times right after the election, and it kind of has the Karl Rove dinosaur old way of doing things, going on your gut and sort of just dumping money into attack ads. And then the new way of doing things, which is epitomized by this guy with his laptop, actually calculating statistical models based on data to figure out how likely people are to do things. So also, like good scientists, we did lots of experiments on the campaign. It turns out that randomized controlled experiments aren't only useful for pharmaceutical trials. We use them to optimize every facet of the campaign. So this cycle, we raised $700 million online. We only raised $500 million online last time. And a huge part of that difference was because of how we use data. So every single fundraising email that we sent out, of which you guys must have gotten tons, we first sent out lots and lots of test versions to small random samples of our email list with different subject lines, different senders, different wordings. And we looked at the results from those emails. We projected out how each one would do if we sent it to the whole list. And we used that data to make our decisions. And the differences were often really dramatic. So this email was projected to raise $2.5 million. It actually raised $2.6 million. But you can see a lot of these other versions that we tested that people thought were awesome emails were only going to bring in $400,000 or $500,000. So when you add that up over all these emails, the differences were actually really dramatic. This was the first real Twitter and Facebook election. So we spent a lot of time mapping out network graphs like these to visualize how conversations were flowing on Twitter and how we could get our supporters to help spread our message to their social networks of friends on Facebook. So I can't stand up here and say that data and technology won this election. Our thousands and thousands of field organizers and volunteers who are actually on the streets, walking around, knocking on doors, won this election. But data helped them to be more effective. It helped us to raise more money so that we could hire more of them. And it helped push all of our efforts over the finish line to victory. But it's not just presidential campaigns that need people who understand data. Governments and nonprofits are also sitting on top of mountains of data, and they need smart people like you guys to help them understand that data, to make decisions and find new efficiencies. And there are new groups that are springing up all the time to help them with that. There's this group called DataKind. It used to be called Data Without Borders. And they sponsor local hackathons that bring together nonprofits and data people to try to sift through their data and figure out what's in it. There was a recent hackathon with them in Chicago where they helped the local Red Cross figure out where in the city it had been responding to fires and how it could stage some of its resources more effectively. The UN has an organization called Global Pulse, and they're trying to use data to drive development. And there's even a growing movement among local governments to release lots and lots of civic data sets out into the community. So cities like Chicago and New York have already released tons and tons of their data on things like transportation, building inspections, permits, violations, lobbyists, all sorts of stuff, hoping that smart people out in the community can help them analyze their data to find new and interesting things in it. And already New York has analyzed its data and figured out better ways that it can target its building inspections so that it can save both money and lives from illegal buildings and fire code violations and things like that. So as the volume of data that we collect grows, so too does the potential impact of smart people like all of you guys who can use statistical skills, programming skills, all those kinds of skills to really find all these hidden nuggets that are buried inside all of that data. It took me a really long time to figure out that I could use my physics skills to do things like this. But for those of you who are in the sciences, who are computer people, data people, I really encourage you to think broadly to figure out how you can use your skills to do similar things. And I look forward to watching your big ideas blossom. Thanks.